Now, Mark, this is a situation where you should use your size to your advantage. This like 80-year-old guy is using the machine Mark wants to use.
He's gonna pull the old
He's
card
humping
on you.
the thing,
Trumps
man.
everything.
He's humping the machine.
Mark's pacing back and forth. I can see him getting angrier and angrier, using the dip machine over there.
He can use it now. He can use it now. He's cool.
See, now someone else just jumped in while you're
cool,
standing here.
Yeah, at least you can jump in on that side.
Jason, did you hear what happened with Lenny? I'm hoping he comes here this morning. We're going to talk to him on camera about it.
What happened to him?
And I swear I'm not making this up. Lenny went over to Planet Fitness to join.
Yeah.
They declined him. They wouldn't let him join because they told him to his face he's the kind of person they're trying to keep out of the gym. Mark told me the story. This happened the other... Right, Mark? You can confirm?
Oh yeah, I don't know the exact details, but they told him they don't want bodybuilders in there. They don't want powerlifters.
Well, what do they want?
Just casuals that just want to do cardio and maybe do some machines.
I mean...
Planet Fitness, you can look it up online. They're terrible. No serious like workout guys.
I'm no Alan Dershowitz, but isn't that some form of discrimination?
I mean, he'll tell you. He'll tell you.
I mean, seriously.
What a gay gym. Planet Fitness is going to get order 66 on.
I just don't get that. Well, at least let him join the gym first, and if he commits a few infractions, then terminate him, right?
They got the lunk alarm that goes off.
Well, I mean, he'd set it off on his first day, but nonetheless.
As soon as he walked through the door, it would go off. That's ridiculous.
Does that mean Victor's not going to join?
We need to get Victor, Jason, and Lenny over there.
Victor's just shaking his head no.
We need to go over there, try to join, see what they say.
The lunk alarm would go off, like if Victor got within 50 feet of the gym, the lunk alarm would go off. Not because he's loud, just because of his size.
Yeah, they discriminate. They'd say, this big dude's coming in, we don't want him here. Out. They wouldn't even sign him.
That's crazy.
It's bullshit. But, you know, they want to have their own little niche gym, whatever you call it.
Well, Lenny's supposed to be here this morning, and if he does, I'll be sure to get his scintillating take on it on camera.
He should be.
Good to know.
All right, let's get this.
All right, Jason, let's do legs, big boy.
Planet Fitness, across the street where the old World Gym used to be. It's going to open up in January. They had a pre-sale sign-up center next door, a little office. So I was off Monday, I went in there, and first thing I noticed was a huge glass container of Tootsie Rolls.
What?
Sitting on the table, and while I was the manager or whatever who was running the sale, noticed I was looking at the Tootsie Rolls, and he said to me, you know, every one of our gyms has that. They're well stocked, and we don't have any protein bars or any type of protein shake or anything like that in our gyms. We have Tootsie Rolls always on hand for members to help themselves.
That's fantastic. Wow. Wow.
And then he's like, can I help you? I said, I just want some information in case you want to join other gyms. I see you got a nice rate, 10 bucks, whatever. Which is a little pricey even for a guy like me, but you know. So he came up to me and he says, well, first of all, we're a non-judgmental fitness facility. And then he looked at me and says, however, we do not cater to bodybuilders and powerlifters like yourself. And I said, say it again.
What?
He says, we don't cater to bodybuilders and powerlifters like yourself. I says, I'm a human being last time I checked. And I says, what? You just violated your principal code, non-judgmental. You just judged me, and I told you I wasn't either. So then he said, I said, what do you consider? Because we consider this a gym for beginners and normal people.
Normal.
Wow.
I said, that again, okay, judgment number 2. And then I said, what do you consider abnormal? He says, people that are twice as big and twice as strong as normal. And I said, well, what is your scale of normal? Is this a scientific...
Pussy weight.
Thank you, Jason.
Is this a certain standard that was set years ago, or did you guys set it, or what? And he says, no, we do not cater to bodybuilders and powerlifters. I says, you know, that's very, very bizarre. And he says, also, we don't have barbells in our fitness facility. And
What do they have?
not?
Jump ropes? What are you supposed to put the weights on? Dental floss? What the fuck? They don't have barbells?
And he says,
I've never been to a Planet Fitness.
he
You
says,
serious?
Barbells are a highly effective form of resistance training that's been around over a century. And I said, why would you not have that? He says, well, it's too intimidating for our members.
What?
And I'm like, I says,
That's gay. Order 66 Planet Fitness, please.
I said,
Order 66
I'm
his
absolutely
ass.
speechless. I mean, not only the most judgmental, prejudicial. Imagine if you said that about, we wanted a gym, but we do not cater to fat women or
Right.
homosexuals or something. I mean,
I was saying before you got here, I'm not Johnny Cochran, but sounds to me like that's a form of discrimination. You know, at least give you an opportunity to go there and not set off their retarded lunk alarm.
right.
There are actually people who are a quarter your size who scream and grunt like idiots when they lift weights who will set off that alarm. And there are people who are bigger than you who lift very respectfully.
And a grunt is
Talk about being judgmental.
A millisecond, people can't. I don't get it. You're exhaling air. I mean, you know.
Well, I was actually considering going over there and checking it out only because they open at 7 a.m. on weekends instead of 8, which this does, so I could work out there before work on weekends.
With a
But
dental floss.
so I can,
Wrap
yeah,
yourself in
I can go curl some
just-
dental floss.
Yeah, I wouldn't even go over there to make a video
Right.
because they said, and we're also one of the few fitness facilities that we do, after we warn members, we do involve local law enforcement in enforcing our policy.
You can't be serious. They get the
That's what
police.
said.
They get the
They
police
do.
involved.
They reserve the right to involve local
They
law
get the
enforcement
Yeah.
involved in what?
to uphold their standards.
If you film?
God knows.
That's
I'm just
not
saying,
a
I said warn
crime.
you.
How can the police get involved? That's not a criminal matter. Is there a statute I don't know about on the books about? That is the funniest shit I've heard all morning.
I said maybe they.
Knuckles deep.
Knuckle deep?
Yeah,
You don't know about Knuckles Deep, Lenny?
No.
Oh boy.
Jason
We're
tried to-
covering
Oh,
porn addict.
Jason-
I'm not up on all the news.
Well, maybe you should. Maybe
Talk about that.
you should cover your ears then, Lenny.
Yeah, cover your.
Oh, now you don't want to talk about that, right?
No, I don't.
Yeah. He tried to fist himself.
I think I better not only cover my ears, I better cover my groin area too. This is getting interesting.
Please.
Or you might want to listen. It might excite you.
If you ask him, he'll demonstrate.
How do you possibly fist yourself? And then again, what does that mean, fist yourself?
Let's not talk about it.
I think I have an idea.
Let's not talk about it.
Well, first you bend over, grab your ankles, then we'll get Big Victor, who's probably got hands the size of a lunchbox, to
I got a new name for Victor. Let's call him the Yeti.
Victor was
Yeti doodle.
Victor's at a, yeah, you guys laugh. Victor's gonna put me through the fucking wall if he watches.
Just like being born gay and being a porn addict like myself. You're born that way.
You
It's
were
an obvious-
born a porn addict.
Yeah. I was born that way. Hey, the serial killers are born that way, so they shouldn't have any punishment, right? We're born, that's the thing, I'm born that way. I'm born, that's ridiculous.
You should have said that when you went to Planet Fitness. I was born this way.
I was born a power.
That's right.
Yeah, I get That's a good point. Well, we will be back.
Brad, did you hear what happened with him? Lenny went over to Planet Fitness just to like investigate and do some preliminary checking out of the place to find out about membership info.
This one that just opened?
Yeah, and they flat out told him, we don't want you here. This is a non-judgment. No.
Did they really say that?
They said, we don't cater to bodybuilders and powerlifters like yourself. And I said, first of all, I'm a human being. I don't consider myself what you just said. And I said, you're being judgmental. And then I says, he says, well, this is a beginner's gym primarily. I says, okay.
What the fuck?
And now, why would you, how do you classify somebody as a bodybuilder or powerlifter? He says, well, somebody that's twice as big as normal or twice as strong. I say, so you have a detailed manual of what's normal?
Yeah, they have a chart.
I says, this is absurd.
That is fucked up.
I'm telling you, the three of us, Mark, Victor, Jason, we should all go over there dressed like Ken Patera. Remember those things Ken Patera used to wear? We should all go there dressed in those things.
The singlets.
Yeah, the singlets, exactly. Just to join up.
Speaking of Ken, I don't know if you viewers remember, him and Mr. Saito, after an AWA bout in the early 80s, went to a McDonald's. I forget which state, I think it was Minnesota. And it was closed. And they remember they had the big boulders in front of the McDonald's, like a decorative outdrop. Well, he said, open the door, I'm hungry. He said, no, we're closed. So he picked up the boulder, threw it through the window of McDonald's, went back to his hotel room. So the cops, you know, found him somehow. They brought about 10 cops to the hotel room, knocked on the door. Just opened the door, you know, we want to talk to you guys. And they're like, oh, fuck off. So the cops broke down the door of the batting room. Patera and Mr. Saito came out.
He was a wrestler. I remember Mr. Saito.
They both were.
Yeah.
They beat the living hell out of about 12 cops where they were picking him up in the hallway of the hotel, smashing him against the wall.
Like the scene in Commando when Arnold's at the mall?
Exactly. They were getting mazed. It wasn't doing anything.
Oh,
4 of these cops ended up being hospitalized. Now the funny thing is, you know, they went to jail whenever they bonded out by the AWA Federation, and when they had their court date, the judge was at the courthouse and looked out and says, where are the defendants? And they looked out the window. They're sitting on the courthouse lawn, quote, which I read in the paper, swilling beer.
Thank you, Brad.
Swilling beer. And, you know, utter contempt for the law, and they got about 3 or 4 years each.
That's actually such a great idea. You remember the wrestlers, the Bushwhackers?
Yeah,
we should,
that's what he is, yeah.
all of us, we should all walk into Planet Fitness like that, like 6 of us.
Well, that's Vince taking a good team, the sheep herders, who were a badass New Zealand type, and he said, why don't you guys come out and walk like this?
Have Jason leading the way, walking like the Bushwhackers, right into Planet Fitness.
Lenny, Jason.
We want to join your gym. Oh man!
Even if they do kick us, you guys got to tape that. That'd be fun.
We could all wear GoPros on our foreheads.
He like you say, get this Ken Patera wrestling singlet. How about I wear my powerlifting belt? Yeah.
Yeah,
Come in with
exactly.
Claw.
Yeah.
Or I'll come in with my posing trucks on all oiled up. Bodybuilder. Yeah.
Chains around our necks.
They don't allow, yeah.
Yeah, Lenny, bring that neck harness.
I'll have a syringe sticking out of my ass. Come here.
We'd like to join your gym.
That's mine.
I mean, it makes no fucking sense.
Well, we're talking about if you're calling a gym a beginner gym, great. But me, I'm pretty skinny. I'm 6'1", 185. When I go to a gym, I prefer to be surrounded by guys who are bigger and stronger than me. It motivates me.
Getting back to the term beginner gym.
Because you can reference them and ask them how, you know, you learn a lot from people that know what the fuck
So in
they're
other
doing.
words, every
let's go into
membership-
a beginner gym where everybody's walking around not knowing what the fuck any machines are for or what or any routine. How are you going to learn anything? when
But
you
the
just
thing
have-
is, they should just sign people up for a month, because once you start training for a month, you're no longer a beginner, and according to them, you're not welcome either.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Their membership shouldn't last more than 3 months.
Actually maybe 3 days.
Yeah.
after 3 months, yeah.
Once you're no longer a beginner, you're expendable.
I'm going to write every point down, valid point. I'm going to hear answers from this guy.
So I guess once you learn what you're doing and can start lifting heavy weights, what, they throw you out on your ass? How does that work? Like when you join a gym, you can bench 150. After 6 months, you can bench...
We want a bunch of people that don't know what the fuck they're doing, so they just come in and hardly use
And
the
the worst
equipment.
problem in this country is the high sugar intake. And what do they have? Tootsie Rolls.
I still can't
Free
believe
for the
that.
taking. Free in a huge glass. I mean, talking about
Get the
the
fuck
size of
out.
the Stanley Cup. A glass container must be 500 Tootsie Rolls. And when I came in, actually, I was looking at it, and they said, oh, by the way, you'll be glad to know that we have these in all our gyms, well stocked at all times. He looked at me, we have no protein bars or energy drinks or anything like that. Not even bottled water.
Well, maybe they're trying to fatten up the prospective members to make them think they need the gym membership. Hey, I gained 3 pounds since I went over to Planet Fitness. Let me join.
Maybe they have video games next to all the equipment too, so the fucking dorks can play the goddamn video games in between sets. The fuck is that?
Beyond me, it's just-
I don't get it, man.
What kind of fucking gym is that?
Not one I want to go to. But it does open at 7 a.m., so on weekends. That's tempting, man.
Go in there and sit and eat Tootsie Rolls for an hour, then come here.
Yeah, you can walk on a treadmill eating Tootsie Rolls. Negate all your gains. Fucking brilliance. How can I argue with that flawless logic? What, Jason? You got to go to where? The doctor?
Yeah, what did you do? 3 minutes of cardio, fat bastard?
Gonna go